powerful effects of thinking positively of others. Yes, but what happens if that other person is so challenging in a sense?
What
so
happens if the other
toxic?
person's thinking negative about you?
Yeah, I mean, why should you be the better person?
Oh,
Okay,
no,
all right.
we can be the better
We
person.
can be the better
Okay.
person. Okay, let's talk to Murshidah Said, the motivator, and of course, always thinking positively of us.
Yes. Hi, good morning.
Definitely.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Good to have you back.
Yes, thanks. I've been very busy doing
yeah.
training and a lot of corporate training as well as coaching and counseling people. So I'll share a little bit of that. And that's one of the reasons why I chose this topic today, about the power of the powerful effects of positive thinking about others. You know, a lot of times, right, when I do training, especially on interpersonal communication skills or organizational excellence or corporate branding or corporate grooming, the topic that I always link to is about yourself. It is so important about how you know, the thoughts inside of your head go in affects your organizational excellence, or it affects your relationship with your family members, with your colleagues, and as well as the relationship with, you know, yourself especially, you know, and personal empowerment. So when it comes to thinking positively about others, you know, just think, you know, when you meet somebody for the first time, and then you start to judge the person. You know, you look at me, this person,
Yes,
this person.
yes,
you know,
yes,
you
from
think
head
all that.
to toe.
Yeah, head to toe, and then you judge
Mother-in-laws,
them.
you should always do that.
Yes, you know, we tend
want
to
to
do
say
that,
that
and
on
it's
national
unconscious.
TV, right?
It's unconscious, you know. But what happens is what happens if that person is judging us? How would we feel? You know, we don't like to be judged, but we unconsciously judge others. So what I would like to share today is when we think positively about other people and not judge them negatively, you know, it has powerful effects on yourself first. Number one, you know, there's a research done by Dr. Masaru Emoto on water crystals. He's from Japan and is very much, you know, recognized around the world, where you know, the thoughts from a person's mind can actually affect water right in front of them. You know, the water crystals actually change. When a person thinks negatively, the water crystals become very blotchy and very unpleasant. And when the person thinks of love and positivity, the water crystals become so clear and so beautiful. And this water is, you know, imagine if this water is inside our body. Our body is like 75% water.
Yes.
So imagine this going inside your body. People become healthier, they become stress-free, they are less self-critical, you know, and it comes out through the words that you say.
But again, isn't being isn't it not saying thinking negative about others, but isn't being not even isn't it a defense mechanism? You know, like being not saying 100% you should be judgmental, but you know, it's a defense mechanism of, okay, what do this particular person wants from me?
Yeah.
You know, so you kind of, people put up that wall.
Yes,
sometimes.
that's right. So then again, you know, that's why there's a lot of angry people walking around here on earth, unfortunately, because when there's a lot of self-critical outside, it's a reflection of the self-critic inside. People unconsciously feel they're not good enough. They don't understand their purpose in this world. They are always judging themselves. I'm not good enough. That's why I'm not confident and I cannot do this and that. People have this running in their minds. And when they look at other people, they tend to do the same thing.
Right.
You know, you've heard that phrase, hurt people always hurt them. Hurt people always hurt others.
Yes, that's
right?
right.
And that is what you do. When you are self-critical of yourself, you're self-judgmental of yourself, and you never think you're good enough, you tend to do the same to others. So my challenge is for everybody, you know, including myself, when we see people, you know, and then sometimes it may not be reflecting the kind of values, how they dress, how they talk, may not reflect the values that we carry, because all of us have different upbringings, all of us have different religious backgrounds, and you know, we have our own different experiences and all that. So we tend to see things from our perspective.
Right.
So when we see people talking or maybe dressing something different from the way we normally perceive what is
we
right,
get threatened.
yes, we feel threatened. So right now, can we switch to finding something that is of good of them,
Of that person.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this now. Thinking positive, when we talk about the topic when on air, when we say thinking positive, that itself is a challenge. Having us thinking positive of ourselves is a challenge for many people out there. So now you're telling us, think positive of somebody else. You know, can you see that little shift there? I have a problem thinking positive of myself, and now I have to go think positive of this person I do not like. how do you do that? Like,
Okay.
how can you switch your mindset to say, okay, person A, I don't really like, but I have to think nice things. Okay, let's start. Where do
Okay.
you start?
Do you know, there's a great quote from Abraham Lincoln. He said something like, I don't like this person. That means I need to get to know him better.
Right.
You know, and you know, a lot of times when you read the papers, you know, all this news that's negative
Yes,
news that's
yes.
happening in the papers right now. And it's all because of one person judging others.
Yep.
And when I do my coaching and my counseling as well, a lot of broken relationships and
Mm-hmm.
low self-esteem maybe from teens or parents saying, how do I fix my relationship
Yep.
with my child? I don't understand him. Or companies saying, how can I get my people to get along because we need to increase productivity? It all boils down to other people judging other people without knowing the real story. So when we don't know about what that person's situation is and we judge them based on our perception, that brings us in a negative state, you know,
Yep.
that brings us in a negative state. So how do you switch yourself to being a positive and thinking good of others? First of all, just think of something nice about the person. Maybe you don't like the person's character or what the person's saying, but look, okay, that person has a nice brooch. I'm looking at your brooch, yeah, so pretty. So I'm looking at that brooch, you know, this person has a nice brooch.
Right.
When you think of that, right, notice how you feel. You know, you will see a shift, you will feel a shift coming out inside of you.
But isn't it like faking it?
You can try that first, and then you will
Okay.
see. But when you will start to feel good about yourself within, you know, when you see good things about the other person, right? And then when, let's say the person starts to be very negative or something, try sending the person love. You know, this is something that actually makes things a lot happier when you send a person love. This is like a prayer sending out to the person. And over time, maybe not immediately, you will see a shift in the person. Because love is a very powerful energy. When a person gives hate and you give out love, eventually that person
comes-
will
yeah.
cool.
But Murshidah, let me ask you this again. When there are people that you don't like in
Yeah.
life, and,
Yeah.
and I'm quite sure a lot of us have this kind of characters in our life, you want to avoid them because you feel that they are quite toxic.
Yeah.
They're very toxic, and I mean toxic because they are that bad in an influence if you ever allow them into, you know, remotely 2% in your life, and you just want to stay away from them. So characters like this, do you still think it's advisable to send love and feel good things about them?
Yes, I believe strongly in sending love. You know, even if that person is really nasty, you don't have to be physically around that person, especially if the person is a toxic, like a human vampire, you know, like sucking out all the energy out of
Yeah.
you, and then it might affect the way you do things, right? So move away. You can move away or spend less time with the person, but keep sending loving thoughts to that person. You know, a wonderful story about Nelson Mandela said, when he was in prison, how many years? 27 years in prison, right? And all that time when he was in prison, the guards had to keep changing. You know why? Because he said, if I were to be in a state of negativity, my spirit will just die. I will just lose hope. You know, so what he sees beauty in the guards who abuse him.
Right.
Physically abuse him, mentally abuse him. He sent them love. And you know what? They cannot stay in their position for long. They have to keep changing. That's why there's so many guards through his lifetime in prison. There's so many guards. And when he became the president of South Africa, what happened was the people who were the guards, the people who used to beat him up, they were the one at the front line supporting him. You know, and that is what love can do. It shifts energy. All right. So I just want to invite everybody, okay? Try this, you know, when you just think something good about another person, even if that person has done something mean or done something mean, just feel good and forgive the person. Think of that
Forgive the
person.
Yes.
Think of that person as a very you know, hurting soul, and that's why the person is doing that.
Hurt soul,
Very-
hurting
yes,
another person.
That's right. So just think of that person asking you for forgiveness,
Right.
and you forgive the person. Think of that person in a good light in whatever area you can think of.
Yes,
You know, maybe,
yes.
oh, I love the person's hair no matter what. She's got nice hair. Oh, she's got nice hair.
Yeah.
Right? Think of it in that way. Even,
Right.
you know, really small things.
Yeah.
And you will feel the shift in yourself, right?
True, it's
Yeah.
true. I suppose, like we always say, nobody is born evil. Nobody is born bad.
Evil is made.
Evil is made. That's
Evil
right.
is made.
It's literally us who make ourselves the way we are.
Yes,
So
that's
when
right.
you say think positive, and if you can think positive about yourself and look beautiful for you, then you can do the same to
Exactly.
the other person.
Yes.
Exactly. And you know what? When I do my, corporate training, when people say, oh, there's a problem with customer service and attitude, and a lot of them is something to do with within the organization. It's where people are like, you know, oh, this person thinks badly of this person is trying to sabotage this
Yeah.
person. And that causes negativity in the environment. And how are you going to increase productivity like that? You cannot, you know, and you can, but for a short while, you know, but it's very tough, it's very stressful. So when there's negativity within the people in the office or in the family, people outside, when they come into the office, they just don't feel good. They wouldn't want to buy from you long term. For some reason, they don't know, because energy is a feeling. Energy you cannot see, but it can be transferred and it cannot be destroyed. That's what we learn in science.
That's true.
But it can change form. Right? So we can change our energy form from a negative state to a positive state. Thinking, look, it's better for my health, it's better for my complexion, and it's better for my family, it's better for my environment. Why do I want to kill myself and stressing myself out? You know, we only have so much years to live on Earth, and why do you want to kill yourself?
Maybe like to add in the word unconditionally. I think a lot of people take it for granted. You know, like forgive that person unconditionally, or love that person unconditionally. Not just I want to love my friend because he or she is nice to me. But once she does this, that's it. I'm putting
it's
away.
funny you said that, because I equate that to having our pets in the house. You know, when you have your little pet cat, and sometimes your cat ends up biting you. Cats have this, you know, this little temperamental state, and then they end up biting you. You don't react to them in a negative manner, isn't it? You just pick them up and go like, oh, okay, what's happening? I mean, if you can do that with a pet, and if you can do that with some, you know, with an animal that's with you 24/7, then why can you not do that with a human? It's a very interesting concept, isn't it? I mean, that's literally what you're saying. Do what you feel that others would like, that you would like others to do to you, isn't it? Or behave to you.
That's the thing. You do that with you know, a loved one, even a child. You know, a pet is one thing anyway. I love my pet, so loving.
So there you go. You're unconditionally loving your pet.
Unconditional love from my cat, right? And then my child as well. You know, the children that we have at home. Right, we
you
give them unconditional
exactly.
love. But why is it that sometimes we end up hurting them with our words, you know, with our mannerisms, and this is something that is unconsciously is also self-loathing, because you know you are seeing that human or that person as an extension of you, and that's self-loathing, and then you do that.
Or even a failure of you, you know, when they're throwing tantrums. Oh my God,
I have not done it. I've not nursed them well. I've not raised them well.
And especially when people judge you again. You know, you bring your kids out, meet up extended families, and they say, how you bring up your child? They're throwing tantrums all the time. So again, being judged, and then you are automatically hurting your kids because you can't accept the fact that you're being judged.
Then you hate the person who says that.
Oh yes, and it's just a vicious cycle.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say. This is all a vicious cycle. So world peace. How do you have world peace? You start with yourself.
That's right.
Start to appreciate and know your purpose in this world, right? Accept, you know, forgive yourself, right? And forgive your parents, because these are the people closest to you. And then you will be able to see good in other people. You know, when there's so much anger within, it's always something conditioning that happened between 0 to 6 years old.
Right.
You know,
I just have this song pop in my head because I heard this song in the TV. I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm talking about, you know, I'm talking to him about making a change. So I think
Michael Jackson.
Yes, that's common sense. Look into the mirror. Tell that other person that's you to make a change, and then make the world a better place.
Yes,
very well put.
And the other thing is, you know, energy, it cannot be seen, it can be felt. Sometimes you cannot hear energy, but you can feel it. So imagine, like, say 3 of us, you know, we're hanging out, we like each other, and then another person comes with a negative energy,
and you can
comes and sit down, you can feel it.
That's
you know, and then suddenly, you know, you feel like, oh, you just feel uncomfortable. And this is what happens when we talk about people behind people's backs. You know, you don't tell them the truth about how you feel, about what makes you upset, but you start to talk about, you know, about that person to other people. And this is a negative energy that you pass on to others. People will not like you. For some reason, people will just find you unattractive.
That's true.
And worse, it gives you, you know, there was I had a quote about don't envy or hate other people because it will give you cancer, a mental cancer. But some people who are in the health practitioners who wrote to me and said not only mental cancer, actually a physical cancer as well.
There you go.
You know, so it is dangerous. So why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we doing this to our
Why
society?
are we killing ourselves? It's as simple as forgiving people, thinking positive.
That's right. Oh, Murshidah, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks very
Absolute pleasure having you on board all the time. And Malaysia, just you know, heed this from our motivator in the studios. As Yasmin said, look at yourself in the mirror and love that person and love the other person.
The man in the mirror.
All right, we're going to take a break and leave her to sing, and we'll come back to you with our next topic, so don't go away.
Yes, don't go away. Stay tuned.